Baton Rouge.
Eagle 98.1 Game Day is on the air.
Presented by Super Chevy. See your Super Chevy dealers of Baton Rouge.
It's time to talk LSU football on the flagship home of the Tigers. Call 225-499-9898. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Now, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios, here's Charles Hannegriff and Richard Dixon.
A barn burner for 3 quarters turns into a victory for the Tide as the Alabama run game closes out LSU 42-28 on a disappointing night in Tuscaloosa. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Eagle 98.1 Game Day. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with former Tiger Richard Dixon. For 3 quarters, it looked like a completely even matchup. One of the great quarterback battles, if much of it was on the ground, that we have seen this year or in recent years. A game that looked like the team that would have the ball last would have the best chance to win. Neither defense was having much success stopping the other. But as the fourth quarter began, LSU's offense made some mistakes on a night where they could afford none. First, a deflected ball that turned into an interception gave Alabama a short field and a 2-score lead that basically put the game away. LSU penalties on offense cost the Tigers a couple of other drives. But the story of the night was not LSU's mistakes on offense. The story of the game was LSU's inability to stop the run at really any point on the night. The very first drive of the game, Alabama was sacked and punted. They never were stopped again. Richard, I'm going to let you talk about this in a little bit. You've gone into pretty much every game this year with a certain number of stops in your head that LSU needed to be able to mitigate the problems on defense that the offense could actually cover. And I'm pretty sure your number was not 1 for this game because every other drive ended in a touchdown, a missed field goal, or the end of the half or the game. So after the first drive, Alabama's punter headed out to have a sandwich and was never needed again in the game. There's a lot that went on here and a play that we're going to talk about. But LSU lost this game because they could not stop the Alabama run game.
They lost it in the front 7.
Yep.
And that's nothing that anybody would have thought in this game. We've talked about it all week long. We've talked about the freshmen coming in, the young guys. We've been beat on the pass all night long. Secondary played, and regardless of what any other show you've heard tonight, the secondary played pretty good tonight. We didn't get beat on a deep ball. They covered well. Sam missed an interception, but it was well covered. We got beat straight up front. The Alabama offensive line manhandled our defensive line. They pushed. You had 4 guys carry the ball for Alabama, all carried for over 4 yards of carry. It was just one of those games that I never felt great about this game. I thought it was a 50-50 game. I leaned more towards Alabama winning, but I never would have thought that we got beat in the rushing game.
288 yards for Alabama on the ground, 6.3 yards per carry, and Jalen Milroe, as we feared, we talked about this on the podcast and again on the show Friday, that Milroe had not run much in the last month, that they had basically taken that out of the game plan since the Ole Miss game. But in the Ole Miss game, they ran him 16 times, and a lot of that was designed to control the clock, keep the Ole Miss offense, which is explosive, off the field. I was fearful that a similar game plan would be employed tonight, and it was. Twice as many runs as passes, and it was not like this was really tilted at the end of the game when Alabama was on top by 2 scores. This was from that very first drive on. Whether it was Milroe or McClellan or Williams, it didn't really seem to matter. LSU had absolutely no answer for it. There were poor run fits. There was poor tackling. They lost contain. Every which way you can be bad against the run, LSU was tonight. You're right, Rich. The defensive backs, there were not a huge amount of big plays over the top on LSU. In the passing game, they maybe made 3 plays that were over 20 yards all night.
And I'm trying to think of the ones, did we get beat on a couple? Yeah, and Milroe overthrew them.
The longest pass plays of the night were the 2
dump passes to the running back.
The 2 dump passes to the running backs that turned into big gains. They were great plays by Milroe.
And they were great plays by the defense. They bottled the guys up. It's one of those plays where the quarterback made a hell of a throw. He made a hell of a play. He read it. The one I'm thinking of is when the running back, everybody bottled him up. He couldn't go anywhere, and he just kind of shot put it over the line.
He did.
Got to the running back.
That was the 42-yard game.
That's a great play by the quarterback, and the running back being the awareness. But, what I was worried about was Milroe has been great on the deep ball. He wasn't tonight. He overthrew a couple guys. Didn't have to. But, I mean, even the opportunities early in the game, they had a tight end split, whatever it was. They had a receiver on one, Speeds, got wide open, and he overthrew him. And I was like, okay. Yeah. But, shoot, we went in the half 21-21, 3 rushing touchdowns by the quarterback.
Yeah, it was as even a stat sheet as you will ever see at the half. There were all the way down to the missed field goals by each team being of the exact same yardage through a half. Really, even through 3 quarters, this was a fair fight. This was a regular game.
I'll say through 2 quarters and a drive. After the first drive, we scored the touchdown. We couldn't get anything going after that. I mean, and, you know, it stayed close, but we never got anything going offensively after that first drive of the second half.
They didn't. No, you're right. I can't dispute that. And the play, the interception that Daniels threw,
not on Daniels,
was a great play. Yeah. Okay, Turner gets up, he deflects the ball, they make a play, and you're down a score. At that point, it's unlikely that LSU is going to win the game. When Alabama gets up two scores, excuse me, when they get up 2 scores, you don't have a stop in you. No. So you're not going to get there. But then something happens with 13 minutes to go that makes absolutely sure that LSU is not going to get back into it. And this is when Turner drove Daniels into the ground. This is the kind of thing that makes people hate Alabama, okay? Just straight up, this is the kind of play that makes people absolutely loathe this program and sends them running for tinfoil hats to go, what the F are you watching? No. Okay? Because Turner goes in to hit Daniels, okay? Now, do I think that this was a dirty, malicious, intentional play? Not necessarily, no. I think that he's going in there to try and hit the quarterback, and he wants to make sure that he hits him hard enough to bring him down because Daniels is a difficult tackle. But he does,
by rule,
4 different things that will get you penalized, and 3 of those things, 2 to 3 of those things will get you thrown out of most games where if you breathe wrong on the quarterback, you're going to get run. Number 1, he lowered his head. That right there, if you lower your head and you make forcible contact to the head or neck, you are gone. I have been watching this since they put the rule in, and I've seen far less than is called. Danielson made one really good comment, and I said, ask Devin White. Devin White breathed on somebody's face mask and had to sit out.
Hit him with his forearm.
Yeah. Okay. So Turner lowers his head, and he hits Daniels in the chin. Now, once you lower your head, you can hit him anywhere, and you can get thrown out of the game. Once you hit a quarterback with your helmet in his chin, you got to go. All right? The third thing is he leaves his feet. Now, once he's got Daniels in his hand, and you're right, Rich, it's kind of a simultaneous thing, but he leaves his feet, and this is it's not a launch because he was simultaneously hitting, but you could call it that. He leaves his feet, and then he lands on the guy. Okay, now landing on the guy is not going to get you thrown out of the game, but it is going to get you a 15-yard penalty. Gets a 15-yard penalty, and they don't even review this for targeting.
That's what blows my mind.
Well, that's what drives people crazy about Alabama. You watch the Devin White play, and you're like, man, look, man, this is really close. Do you really want to run a guy for the biggest game of the year for a half? He's LSU's best player because he grazes somebody's face mask, but pretty much by accident. No, you really don't. But they did. And then the officials, who cannot feign ignorance of not seeing it because they actually threw the flag, miracle of miracles, okay? And they don't even see fit. Gene Sarator comes in and is like, hey, don't you think they should have maybe looked at that for targeting? Well, yeah, I kind of do. When what he really should be saying is they ought to yank every official off the field until they go put this thing on a video review. This is the kind of stuff. And look, let me be very, very clear about this. LSU wasn't going to win the game if they threw Dallas Turner out.
And that's probably why I'm not that mad about the play.
Well, I'm aggravated. I'm not even aggravated with Turner as much as I'm aggravated with the call and how unequally these things are sometimes officiated, okay? Turner should have been thrown out of the game. He should miss next week's game against Kentucky, the first half of next week's game against Kentucky. It's not going to cost Alabama anything. They're going to win the game against Kentucky next week. They're going to go to the SEC championship game. But it's this kind of stuff that makes, when you say, oh, why do you think Alabama gets, that's why. That's why. You are right there on top of the play. You see them take LSU's best player and pile pile drive him into the ground, and you throw a flag for 15 yards, and you say, oh, that's it. No, that's not it. This is the kind of thing that should go to the league office. You say, you see why we get so pissed off? This is why we get so pissed off. Because y'all don't even want to look at this. It's in Alabama. It's LSU's best player. The game is slipping out of LSU's control here. You're going to make damn sure you knock him out the game. Fine. Okay? You're not even going to look at it. That's what pisses people off.
100%, and I agree 100% that it should have been called. As a former player, as a teammate, I wish our guys would finish some plays like that. That's a play I want to be finished. I get what he's doing.
When you played, that was a legal play.
It was legal. That's how we played the game. We tried to bury the quarterback. You wanted to make sure the quarterback had to take a play off. Right. That's how we did it. And it's hard for me to adjust watching the game today the way the rules are called. I get it. But when I watch the play live, I'm like, that's probably a targeting. I don't think he meant to do it. Great play, but he's probably out of here. I'm sitting on my couch.
He should have.
I'm sitting on the couch saying, I'm texting my buddy, big Alabama fan. I'm like, man, great play. He's probably gone. He's like, yeah, I agree. I mean, the way he hit everything. He launched. He hit the chin. I mean, when they go to the next camera angle of the LSU medical staff readjusting his jaw, checking his jaw, that tells you everything. Right. But for it not to be called, I almost said a bad word. It's just ridiculous because, that should have been called. At least if you're not going to call it, review it and tell us that you reviewed it and it's not a call.
You send this to the league office. The league office is going to tell you that he should have been ejected. So you're going to get an apology, which will not be made public. I already know what's going to happen. I've already saved you 2 days worth of wondering about it. That's what's going to happen. That's what should have happened right there. But I don't want to get too sidetracked on that because it's just another bad call in Tuscaloosa, and it is what it is. And LSU was not going to win the game if Turner had gotten thrown out. They weren't. If Daniels had played the rest of the game, they were not going to. They weren't going to win once they got down 2 scores because they couldn't stop Alabama. And that's the story of the game, and that's really moving forward what LSU's emphasis has got to be, because we're no longer under a small sample size. We no longer have to wonder. In 2022, LSU was 9th in the league in yards per play allowed, okay? So you're in the bottom portion of the league. They were 5th in scoring defense, but that's misleading because in the games that mattered, they gave up 40 to Tennessee, 35 to Florida, 31 to Alabama, 38 to A&M, and 50 to Georgia. This year, 45 to Florida State, 31 to Arkansas, 55 to Ole Miss, 39 to Missouri, and 42 to Alabama, and they were fortunate enough to win some of those games. Matt House's defenses cannot get off the field on 3rd down. Last year, they were 9th in the league in 3rd downs against. They were 12th this year going into this game, and that's only going to get worse because Alabama was 11 out of 14 in 3rd down conversions tonight, okay? They got to recruit it better. They got to transfer portal it better. They got to coach it better, but nothing on that defense is off limits because we have now seen 9 games this year and 14 games last year. So this is 23 games worth of crappy defense.
It's as bad as it gets, I had a lot of problems with Matt House last year early on. I think what saved me a lot of the times we played better in the second half. So I was trying to convince myself that he was a halftime coach. He got in there, made adjustments. This year, our best defensive performances are against the worst offensive teams we played. There's nothing left to save me. The talent, look, we don't have the talent we're used to having.
They got to recruit this better.
They got to recruit it. There's more than the coaching. It's the recruiting and part of this too. Yeah. The transfer misses. But you should not have a secondary filled with people that you are not confident in. I mean, they may say they're confident in, but there's nobody that showed you anything that, like, that's a guy. And I'm going to talk about a secondary. The secondary didn't play bad tonight. This was Mason Smith did not make a play tonight. Jordan Jefferson did not make a play tonight. Name somebody on the front 7. I mean, Penn made a couple plays. Okay, Harold Perkins made some tackles, made a sack. Outside of that, he didn't make the big plays. He missed a few coverages. There was the running backs. You want to talk about the coverages? That's Harold Perkins. Those big plays out of the running backs, that was Harold Perkins. So, it was all around the defensive front 7. I'm going to put the whole game on the front 7. I'm not talking about the secondary. Javen Toviano played a great game. Outside of the first rushing touchdown from Milroe, he took a bad angle. That's a freshman mistake. He went inside the cornerback. If he'd have stayed outside, he'd have flushed Milroe inside. They'd have made the tackle. Ball game over on that play. But, I mean, the secondary, I'll go back and watch it again tomorrow, but I can't put anything on the defense secondary.
It wasn't like there was coverage bust after coverage bust, okay? Alabama made some plays in the pass game, but the really hurtful ones were those dump offs to the running backs that went
crossing
for
routes
big
where
plays.
linebackers. That's on the linebackers.
Things where Milroe was great tonight, man.
Yeah.
Daniels was great, but Milroe was everything to Alabama's team tonight. He made plays with his feet. He bought himself some time and made those throws. It wasn't like he was bombs away. Those weren't the plays that hurt LSU. You said some of the things with Matt House was, that you were giving him a pass at certain points. The reason I think he's gotten a pass, and not a complete pass because it's not like we just discovered that LSU had a bad defense tonight, but what has given him a pass, those games I just listed, they won a number of them, okay? They gave up 35 points to Florida last year and beat them. They gave up 31 points to Alabama last year and beat them. They gave up 31 points to a pretty bad Arkansas offense this year, and they beat them. They gave up 39 points to Missouri, and they beat them. And listen, if they'd have gotten one turnover tonight and Daniels doesn't get knocked out of the game, maybe they could have, caught a break. They would have had to catch a break or two in the fourth quarter. Maybe they win this one, but this was Alabama's game once you figured out that they couldn't stop them. They just simply couldn't. They punted. If you don't hear anything else I say tonight, they punted on the first drive, and they never stopped them again.
Yeah, and then we got to the second half. We scored on the first drive, and we never scored again.
That's it.
I mean, that's the game right there.
Yeah. 499-9898 is the number to call. We'll take your comments here. Alabama wins at 42-28. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day as Alabama wins it 42-28. I want to play this short clip before we go to phone lines from Brian Kelly. This was him on Jayden Daniels after the game.
Yeah, he had a head injury, was not able to come back. We'll obviously have to, put him through more testing before I can accurately say whether that was concussion, non-concussion, things of that nature.
What's the biggest challenge?
I'll be surprised if he's not in the concussion protocol most of the week, which most of the time means that you're going to miss some time.
The only bit of hope I'll give on that is he took the hit to the jaw. You go to the sideline camera, they're checking his jaw, looking for a fracture. They're touching. That's my little bit of hope, is that they're making sure there's not a fracture in the jaw somewhere.
He looked dazed coming off the field, and he got hit. This is the equivalent of a boxer getting hit in the jaw with a clenched fist. I mean, he gets hit in the chin with a helmet from a guy that weighs 240 pounds coming at him full speed. I'm surprised he was conscious.
Yeah.
Okay? The fact that Turner wasn't thrown out of the game continues to blow my mind, but, que sera. All right, LeBear's phone lines, 499-9898 is the number. Keaton is in Birmingham. Keaton, welcome to the show. Keaton? All right. Keaton? No. All right, let's try Greg in Denham Springs. Greg, welcome into the show.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
We have played cards a few times, but that doesn't really matter. It was nice to hear you kind of aggravated because I know you don't get aggravated very often. So, it's kind of late, but what about the play that LSU's had a horse collar? At the same time, the defensive player had a face mask on us. Nobody's mentioned that.
Yeah, they missed a face mask. I thought the horse collar on Perkins was the right call. It's aggravating because the way the horse
call. I mean,
the way. No, it was a horse collar on Perkins.
No, it is by rule.
He pulls him
but
down.
But he pulled him down from the side first. To me, there's a difference between running behind somebody and yanking him down versus hitting him on the side and grabbing your hands.
See, I'm not wild about the horse collar rule in the first place, but I thought by the letter of the law, that was right. And yes, they did miss the face mask on the offensive guy. But if you go back to the end of the first half, okay, and Daniels on that long run is grabbed by the nameplate and inside thing, and he is flung to the ground at that point. In fact, he's flung into one of his receivers that was trying to block down the field. Now, I know why they didn't call that a horse collar, and I think that's horse something else, okay? Because you grab a guy like that. This is the whole intent of the rule, right? Okay, is that you cannot grab somebody by the back of the shoulder pads on the nameplate and forcibly yank them down. Now, just because he didn't land on the back of Daniels' legs and hurt him doesn't make, in my opinion, any less of a penalty. Now, the officials are going to tell me different. They're going to say that he didn't go down initially. You have to go right down. Okay,
yeah.
That's why Perkins' play is a penalty. Okay, but to me, if you're going to call when you grab, this is my problem with the rule, not necessarily how it was called.
And that's my problem with the whole
If
deal.
you grab by the nameplate and you yank them down, then I don't think you should have to land on them for it to be a penalty. If we're going to call it, let's call it. And yes, they did miss the face mask the other way. So Down the line of my list of things. But, yeah, at the end of the first half, when Daniels is off for the run and he grabs him by the nameplate and he flings him to the ground, okay.
But it's the way he fell. If you fall backwards, they call it. If you fall to the side, they don't.
And that, to me, is why
that's why
the horse
problem with
is,
the rule. Because, I mean, there's not much Perkins could do. He makes the play. He's got his left hand on him. Your natural reaction is to, with your free hand, grab whatever you can.
Yeah.
And that's all that happened. It's not a malicious deal. It's one of those deals that, this call, when did this start getting called? When T.O. broke his leg is when they started making the horse collar call.
Roy Williams, the Oklahoma safety, made this play famous, and he later played for the Cowboys. And he collared a lot of people, okay? Yeah. And eventually a couple of them got hurt. And the rule was put in because of Roy Williams. And
to me, it's almost as bad as a targeting. There's an intent to it that
listen, as aggravated as I am with the officials for the Dallas Turner call, I can't ask them to police intent. Okay, yeah. They got a hard enough time enforcing the rules. Jules is in New Mexico. Jules, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
All right.
Hey, a couple things. Once again, Alabama has the officials in their back pocket. And secondly,
LSU didn't lose the game because of the officials.
Not at all.
No, I agree with that. But second, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but when Spates was hurt and Weeks was playing, you heard Weeks' name a couple times a series. And ever since Spates come back, the only time you hear his name is when he's getting beat downfield by a tight end. Can we get Weeks back on the field? Let's go, Brandon.
I would love to say that because I'm the biggest Weeks fan ever. The last 3 weeks, Spates played a hell of a game. I mean, he's a guy that I could not argue to take him out. Tonight, he didn't make a lot of plays. He got put in situations where he's in coverage. This is one that it's hard to say. Weeks has been playing great. Spates played great the last few weeks. Tonight wasn't a night.
Spates doesn't make a lot of big plays.
Yeah.
He makes a lot of what you would call the routine tackles on 3 and 4 yard gains. He's solid. He's not spectacular.
Yeah.
And Weeks made a few spectacular plays.
But me and you talked about it.
Too.
The last few games were like, there's not a reason to pull him out and put Weeks in.
Yeah, and Spates is the upperclassman. Weeks has got a terrific future, and I understand why you want to see more of him. I want to see more of him too. 499-9898 is the number to call. Jason's in Baton Rouge. Jason, welcome into the show.
Hey, guys. The guy before me actually took part of my question about Witt. But the defense needs a spark. I mean, Ryan Yates, Witt Weeks, Quincy Wiggins, Mason Smith's been non-existent. He can't get off blocks. Something's got to give. The no adjustment. Just how do y'all feel about maybe playing some younger guys here out? Just let them get the experience and finish the season strong. I'll hang up with what you got to say. Thank you.
Thanks. And, Rich, you can kind of speak to this. In 2008, you guys were eliminated from the SEC championship race with a few games to play. Yeah. If at that point you start taking out upperclassmen for younger players, what happens?
You lose the locker room.
Yeah.
Because you got a lot of guys who are what the fans think about is they're looking at, third, second, first rounders. There's a lot of guys trying to get undrafted spots. Yeah. There's a lot of guys that are not big name guys. There's a lot of guys that are making plays, not making spectacular plays. Their names not on being announced. Their names not on the stat sheet, but they're doing the job. There's a lot of nameless jobs in the game of football, and those guys are trying to do what they can do best to get that shot to get an invite to camp, get that shot to get drafted late. But there's also times when you need to let some of the younger players get in. I'm not all in for a complete swap, though.
Yeah, I'm all for working some of these guys in to get some more playing time. You got a game against Georgia State.
But you play your best player. If the older guy is a smidgen better than the younger player, you still give the guy out there because you're going to put the best players on the field.
You run the risk of losing the locker room. The other thing is, and I know that Weeks certainly flashed when he played, but if there was anybody on that practice field that was really showing out there, believe me, they'd be playing.
He'd be in for sure. I mean, we saw the plays he made, and I think Brian Kelly said a few times, he makes plays because of his athleticism. It's not because he's doing what's in the system.
Right.
And that's one of the things that a lot of people don't see. Yeah, he might have done what he wasn't supposed to do and made a hell of a play.
I can't imagine that there's anybody on that practice field that they go, wow, that guy's really good. But we can't play him because there's somebody older in front of him.
If there's a guy on the practice field that makes you better, he would be in there.
Yes. That would have been 5 games ago.
He'd be in there day one. I mean, when you watch practice film, I've been there, I've seen it. They don't say, well, he's 2 years older than you. We got to let him finish out his career.
But I understand the question, okay? Because what the fans are looking at is, okay, this season is basically over at this point. The significant part of this season is over. You got 3 games left. You're playing a bowl game wherever against whoever. Whatever happens. But the part about competing for championships
That's
and
done.
that's all over. Okay, so in everybody else's mind, it's like, what can you do to get better for next year? And I understand that. Believe me, we're all looking for that. These players, though,
It's not what's best for the team.
No, they've got 3 games left here and 4 games left. You count the bowl game.
You have guys, like, they're not starting because they're older. They're starting because they're doing things better than the younger guys.
Which is scary because they're not doing a whole lot well.
Exactly. But, I mean, when you start talking about late in the season, it's like everybody's like, okay, let's prepare for next year. You can't these kids have one shot in their life to play college football. They're done playing football when it's over. And to say that, like, hey, you know what, our season's over, we're not going to play for a championship, I don't care about your last few games. We're going to start looking forward, and you can't do it.
Now, let me play devil's advocate for a minute. Maybe we're both wrong because, just try this on for size, they were forced to play all these young kids in the secondary, right? Had to do it. Didn't have anybody else. They played better. So maybe we're wrong. Maybe we should take a longer look at this.
And I agree. It's the old advocate. Some guys are gamers. Some guys play better in game than they do in practice. But what the guys who were put in the game for the first drive, the first quarter, the first series, is because they are better practice players than the gamers. Once you get on the field and you prove that, okay, then you get that shot to be in there.
My bigger problem is with the defensive staff. I've got a 23-game sample size.
Do you think the front seven? We talked all week. We've talked about this for 2 weeks. Did we talk about the front seven losing a game?
No,
never.
No, we didn't. But they did. That's where the game was lost tonight in the Alabama run game, and we've seen this defense collapse against far too many teams.
Yeah.
It's just too many now. Okay,
you got one stop in this game, 2 missed field goals and 1 defensive stop.
And I'm not counting the missed field goals as stops because they were deep enough.
One stop.
Usually the guy for Alabama hadn't missed in a year, and he missed twice tonight, so you kind of got fortunate there.
Very fortunate.
What I'm looking at is the constants. This defensive staff has basically been intact for a year and 3 quarters and have not made very much progress against teams that matter.
And from a coaching
you shut
standpoint,
out God bless the Army. They beat Air Force today. They were great. But I need you to against the Alabamas, the Tennessees, the Georgias, the A&Ms.
Do you, in my opinion, they knew that they have not shown Jalen Milrose running the ball for the last 4 or 5 weeks. They knew that was going to be something that was talked about. They haven't used him. They haven't forced him. He was a designed runner all night tonight. You can talk about whatever you want with the scrambles. Okay, it's no different than Jayden Daniels stepping back. It's man coverage, the C splits. He's told when it does that, take off. That's a designed run. And majority of his runs tonight were designed.
20 carries, 155 yards, and 4 touchdowns. This is the first time in Alabama history a quarterback has run for 4 touchdowns. They used to run the option.
I was texting you in the first half.
They ran the damn wishbone for 20 years.
First touchdown, QB run. Second touchdown, QB. What were we talking about for the last 2 weeks?
What was the stat that they gave up earlier this year was 700 yards against Ole Miss?
Yeah.
Okay, you realize this defense is bordering on historically bad. Okay, you gave up the most yards you've ever given up in LSU history. You gave up the most touchdowns to a quarterback. I just listed all the things. You got to get the defensive staff and you got to say, fellas, we got to look in the mirror here. Okay, we've changed out players. We've changed out schemes.
We didn't get beat by the pass. Now we're getting beat by the run. I mean, what else can you do?
You got some real soul searching to do in that defensive staff.
If you would have told me you held them under 220 yards passing, I'd have told you we won the game.
Well, 500 yards total.
Yeah.
Over 500 yards total. 499-9898 is the number to call. It's Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. the right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day. Alabama wins at 42-28. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. Bo is in Old River. Bo, welcome in the show.
Thanks, guys, for taking me. I'm usually coming to you from my backyard in uptown New Orleans, but right now I can see the stars on the Old River, so good place to be.
I hope it's more tranquil.
It feels a little more tranquil. Saw shooting star just go by, so maybe that's the nuss bus for the future. I don't know.
Ask it if it can play defense.
It's been a good post game to listen to y'all. It's been good. I can't disagree with anything. I mean, Alabama deserved to win. Much better team, much better roster. 2 things really point out to me that and the officiating and all the things that everybody's complaining about really hit home here. There's 2 things that really bug me about this game. One was the long run by Jayden Daniels when they called the holding on Campbell, which is similar to so many holding calls that they let go for Alabama on the long run that really would have been a big key to the game. and that one hurt, and it's frustrating because I thought it was almost textbook. Maybe he held him a little too long, but it was close. 1, 2. I thought, and I still think to this moment on the hit on Jayden Daniels, I felt like Brian Kelly should have gone to the official and said, "You're either going to throw me out of the game or you're going to throw the defender out of the game." And that's period. And it's just, again, it wouldn't have changed the game. It wouldn't have changed the call. It wouldn't have given us more yards. But I felt like at that point, the line in the sand with everything else that was not called in the game and was called. It's frustrating. I know this team's got a ways to go. I know the roster needs more. I know the team needs more. But I mean, that's the moment that I needed to see the fire in Brian Kelly, and I didn't see it on the sideline. Maybe I missed something, but that's one that I thought, you're either going to throw me out or you're going to throw him out.
All right, thank you, Bo.
I got a question.
Yeah.
We've talked about the players getting thrown out, missing a half, missing a game. If the coach gets thrown out, is there a rule on that?
It's been a long time since I've seen a coach ejected. Now, I do know what the rule is in baseball, which is if you get thrown out a second time, and, of course, ejections are a lot more common in baseball, then you got to miss a game. And, you know, I got educated on that because there are a few bad calls in baseball when I was doing the games that I didn't care for, and it's like, well, I'm going to get thrown out. And the coaches would tell us, you know, you can do that every now and then, and this is in baseball, okay? Yeah. But you run the risk if you ever get accidentally thrown out, okay? Like I saw Paul Maneri, who's, you know, pretty conservative when it comes to arguing with umpires, slip into an umpire and get thrown out of the game. Well, if he goes out and argues another, he's going to miss a game, and he didn't want to do that. I don't know what the rule is for football, but I would imagine if you got run out of a football game, it would be pretty serious. And, you know, to make a point and then have to miss a game or something like that. So I get your frustration.
You can
I get
make
where
a
you're
point
going with
without
that.
getting thrown out the game.
Yeah. But if you get a second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, you are run. But Brent Venables got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty in the Oklahoma State game today because he came out to argue a call all the way to the numbers. Okay. Now, you can't come on the field, but they're going to give you a little bit of latitude.
They give you to the hashes,
you get out on the green. They're going to give you a little bit of latitude, but you can't come out to the numbers.
Yeah.
And the announcer crew is going like, well, I wonder what he said. I'm like, I don't care what he said. It's where he said it. You know, you come out that far and it cost them 15 yards.
I've had a couple coaches meet me at the numbers before, so it's a little bit different in that style.
They can meet you with the numbers, but they can't be the official at the numbers. So, again, you can do that if you want, but you're likely to do more harm than good. But I understand your frustration just the same. Now, let me get to this holding call. This was
a hold.
It was. But the bigger part, the game is tied at this point. This is late third quarter. This is about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. The very next play, Daniels makes a beautiful scramble, buys himself some time, and hits Mason Taylor in the hands.
Oh, that's bad.
He's going to be at the point of the catch, maybe 5 or 6 yards short of the first down. He's got a chance to turn up and make it or get close.
He puts you in a 3rd and 6 or 7, which is way more manageable than the 3rd and 17 they were in.
3rd and 17, and they throw short of the stick. So, yeah, I can complain about the hold, but I thought it was a hold.
I was aggravated with the hold, and I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt until they went back and showed the replay. I thought he got the hold because of Daniels escaping.
Yeah.
And because you hold, I tell you a million times, you hold on every single play. The guy with the ball can show the hold more than the referees can. But he was tugging on him before Daniels even took off to run.
For any bad call tonight, I can point to 3 or 4 mistakes that LSU made that were more consequential than the call. I'm aggravated with the Turner call, not because I think it cost LSU the game. If it costs LSU Jayden Daniels next week or past that, I'm going to be pretty steamed that they didn't throw the kid out of the game. But I'm steamed if Daniels plays next week. I'm steamed they didn't throw him out of the game. But in no way do I think that cost LSU the game.
No.
The game was lost once they went down 2 scores.
It was lost after the interception. I mean, that's when they had the 2 stops in a row. That I told you before, anybody who gets 2 stops in a row it's going to be hard to win.
Well, okay, the intercept. They were up 35-28.
Did they punt before the interception?
They get the ball on a short field. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
they weren't because they weren't going to stop them though.
No, and that's the problem.
They weren't going to stop
that's where
them.
I was.
Jules is in Abbeville. Jules, welcome into the show.
Hey there. All of that wishbone talk at Alabama made me think of Stedman Shealy. For anybody that was college football.
I always think of Walter Lewis when I think about Alabama running the wishbone. He was the quarterback on Bryant's last team.
Yeah, that was a little bit later. Hey, I know the defense is bad. There was a play tonight, and they even showed a replay of it, not because of what I'm going to talk about, but Alabama's running an end sweep, and Sage Ryan is standing, 5 yards away from the guy coming towards him, and he doesn't go and attack the guy to tackle him. He basically waits for the running back to come up to him, and then he kind of jumps on his back, trying to bring him down. And I thought that was pathetic.
He's not physical.
Right. And I know that Mason Smith is on the team because he was so ballyhooed when he was in high school that even though I don't follow recruiting, I couldn't help but notice that he made the team, and then last year he got hurt. But I don't ever hear his name called. To be honest, I don't hear anybody's name called often enough to tell you who's on the defense because I don't follow all of the recruiting and portal now like I used to. So if I know your name, it's got to be because you're doing something, and I don't see it. So it's not looking good. It's a combination of the coaching and the players, and neither one seem to be good enough for where we need to be. Under Les, it was all defense and no offense, and now it's all offense and no defense.
Hear that, Rich? You didn't catch a ball.
I agree with that.
You're the leading receiver in the history of LSU tight ends, and you agreed there was no offense.
I'll agree with my senior year. I didn't have a single touchdown my senior year. I broke all my records my junior year.
Right.
That was after he got scared. I'll say there was offense with Miles in 05, 06, 07.
08 was the Rubicon.
08 was when it shut down.
08 was the Rubicon. Once that got that crossed, that was it. Benson is in Thibodaux. Benson, welcome into the show.
It's actually Jake, but how you guys doing?
Good.
I don't know if I'm the only one that's thinking right now, but after all the inconsistencies on defense the last couple of years, especially after tonight, maybe I think if I'm the only one thinking this, I apologize, but maybe I'm thinking it's about time we need to, get rid of the source, as in try to find a new DC.
I don't think we lost him. I
get his point.
Yeah, if they don't look at that defensive room from I'm talking about when the clock hits 0 against Texas A&M, because I don't really care about the bowl game all that much. If they don't start a complete, thorough evaluation of everything that they're doing, schematically, coaching staff, and roster, I mean everything. There are no sacred cows on that defense. That everybody has got to be reevaluated, and they got to come up with something different. I'm not suggesting that they definitely got to run this kid off or this coach off or change his scheme or whatever, but you got to go from A to Z, and they're gonna tell you we do that with everything every year. This is a little bit more urgent. Okay, you get 23 games worth of sample size of bad defense. In some cases, historically bad defense, and it's not getting any better.
And it's bad in different assets every week. I mean, we blame the secondary all year long. We talked about missing 24 Zaya Alexander getting hurt. We're getting nervous. Who's going to play secondary? All the last 2 weeks, we've talked about the secondary. The secondary did not lose the game tonight. We lost the game up front. So, that's the most frustrating thing is, I've been talking to people about this game for 2 weeks, and I'm worried about Milroe throwing the deep ball. He's been great at it. I'm like, the best thing he does is throw the deep ball. He beat us in the run game today.
How many balls did they throw over the LSU's head tonight? I mean, they did miss the tight end on the deep route, but
2.
Yeah.
But I can't think of one where they hit a fade route.
No. We were worried about Burton all week.
Burton didn't do anything until the fourth quarter.
He caught 3 balls for 30 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, there was nothing to that. The long plays in the pass game were dump-offs that turned into big plays.
Exactly. And you had 4 guys carry the ball, all average over 4 yards a carry.
Yeah. 288 yards on the ground.
To 218.
Yeah. 288. We're brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. You know, got 3 games left. You going tailgating? Okay. I mean, look, you got tailgate. Get yourself ready for the game.
I'll take Supreme Rice at the house.
Yeah.
I got a couple bags at the house.
Whether you're making a jambalaya, you're making the red beans and rice, you're making gumbo. We get some colder weather on the way. Make it with Supreme Rice. The brown, the long grain, the medium grain, the jasmine. They're all fantastic. Just which one is your preference? You're going to get more for your food dollar, and you're going to support our Louisiana farmers down in Southwest Louisiana since the 1930s. All of our Supreme Rice grown, milled, and processed down in Southwest Louisiana, and they're part of the Climate Smart program. Climate Smart program reduced emissions and water conservation to make sure that future generations of Louisiana farmers benefit from the same things that the current ones do. So the next time you're in an AG food store, or Rouse's, or Walmart, pick up Supreme Rice. For more information and great recipes, go to the website, supremerice.com. 499-9898 is the number to call on the LaBerge hotline. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast, all of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of Front to Back Boat Service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Alabama wins it by a score of 42-28. 499-9898 is the number. Let's see. We go back to the phone lines and we pick it up with Greg in Mississippi. Greg, welcome into the show. Greg? No Greg? All right. Let's try Jonathan in Baton Rouge. Jonathan, welcome into the show.
Okay, this is Greg in Mississippi.
Okay.
It's great to be up with the great Charles Hannegriff on a Saturday night. I grew up calling you in on the Wednesday night show when you did for years. So I
remember.
it.
I remember. Thank you for saying that.
Man, we appreciate it. And Richard Dixon is the greatest Ocean Spring Greyhound that ever came out that school.
I appreciate it.
Hey, I just wonder, with the difference, I guess a little difference with Golden coming in for Lane up at Ole Miss. And, I think House is a good coordinator. I just tell you, you're an LSU fan, there's going to be a fire sale at Texas A&M, and everybody's going to be bidding for those players. Just upgrade the players a little bit. They'll be right back in there. And I know, Charlie, there's going to be a LSU Notre Dame Bowl somewhere. You got to figure that out for me. But you guys have a great show. We appreciate you. And I think Lane's got a shot against Kirby next week. You have a good show. Appreciate you.
You know what? Missouri was right there for a while. Georgia just tends to
they play up.
They hit another gear when they need to. But Ole Miss got out today. They got a puncher's chance next week in Athens.
No doubt.
Somebody's going to catch Georgia at some point. I don't think they're going to win
Georgia
the championship
can't
again.
play up every time they got to. When you rely on playing up to your competition, there's going to be a time you fail, and we're just waiting for that point to happen.
Yeah, it might be in the SEC championship game. It might be in the playoff. I just think somebody's going to catch them at some point. Listen, Matt House came here with great credentials, and he's probably a fine coach. But what he's doing right now is not working.
No.
It's not improving. It's not flexible. It's not anything. It's just bad. I'm sorry. I gotta call it like I see it. I understand his resume. I know he was fantastic at Kentucky.
Okay.
And he was good with the Chiefs. They came very highly recommended. When he came here, the word we got was, listen, this is going to be another Dave Aranda, Bo Pelini type situation where he's going to coach you for a year or two and he's going to be a head coach. Well, that hasn't happened.
Yeah.
Okay. His stock has dropped dramatically from when he got here as far as, moving on to the next step. Now, I can't tell you every reason why. Okay. Certainly there's some recruiting stuff in there, some transfer portal stuff in there, maybe schematically, maybe his staff, his defensive staff, which is fairly inexperienced for this level in a couple of spots. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's a combination of all of those things. I can't tell you. All I know is what I'm watching is bad defense. I can watch bad defense for a certain amount of time and say they're getting closer because they are getting more comfortable with the scheme. That was the deal Pelini's first year. Pelini's first year in 2005, I'll never forget that post-game show after the Arizona State game and again after the Tennessee game. They wanted Gordy and I to go to the man's house and escort him to the airport that night. But what happened was the players, I'm telling you just like you didn't know you won the team, they got more indoctrinated into the scheme. The defense got better. That hasn't happened here. Okay,
No.
They've gotten, if anything, they've gotten worse over the course of the last 23 games.
It's mind-blowing to me because, we started last season. I wasn't happy with it. We always played soft coverage on third down. It aggravated me because we gave it up. But we always seemed to adjust in the second half last year. This year, we gave our excuse was the inexperience in the secondary. We had a couple guys we brought in got hurt, weren't there. We're playing guys that are not up to the caliber. We have freshmen. Okay, we went through that. Then we played 2 games, Auburn, Army, of course, bad offenses. We played decent. And then tonight, it's just the D-line, front 7. I mean, we got beat in the run game, and it wasn't the passing game. It's just there's something every week that goes wrong on the defense.
It goes down on third down. LSU coming in tonight was allowing a 42% conversion rate on third down. That is ahead of Vanderbilt and Kentucky. Vanderbilt is having a historically bad year by their standards. Now, try that one on, try that one on for size. I mean, if you want to talk, hey, what was the greatest Alabama team of all time? You say, well, man, we got a lot of choices here that you can pick from. The worst Vanderbilt team of all time, you got a lot of choices. Okay, this one's historically bad, and you're just 2 spots in front of them, and you're an eyelash in front of Kentucky. Alabama's 11 for 14 tonight. 11 for 14 tonight on third down. And some of these were third and double
10,
digits.
Third and 12.
Yeah, double digits.
Yeah.
So you were 12 before. You're going to fall behind. I don't know what Kentucky did today on third down, but they played Mississippi State. So I'm without even looking, I'm going to say Mississippi State didn't go 11 out of 14 on third down.
I'll tell you how bad I felt. Every time I got to third down, I walked to get a drink in my kitchen. I just wanted to walk back and see what happened because I didn't want to watch it live.
I've watched. What did you say earlier in the year? You said I would rather it be third and 10, third and 4 than third and 8
every time
because
I want third and short because it seems like we make a play. Anytime it's third and long, we cannot stop it.
Well, congratulations! Now, 4 games later, they're not stopping third and short or third and long.
It screws up all my expectations.
11 out of 4. The third and no number is big enough. 1 punt.
And that's one of the biggest statistics in football. Third down.
Get off the field.
Get off the field.
Get off the field. 499-9898 is the number of the LeBear's hotline. Jason is in Central. Jason, welcome into the show.
You skipped me.
Hello?
Go ahead, whoever this is.
One of them is kind of a blast from the past question. If Perry Lou don't get kicked off the field, kicked off the team in 2008, how do y'all feel the overall program is now? And when the clock strikes midnight after the A&M game, how do y'all feel about a phone call to somebody like Ron Cooper that coached DBs at LSU and trying to get him back in to coach the secondary up? Also, one more. How appealing is a DC job at LSU? Pelini 1 year, Durante Jones 1 year, Matt House possibly out after 2 years. I'll hang up. Listen what you got to say.
Okay.
I can answer the first 2.
Yeah.
Cooper,
ahead.
I don't want. I've never talked about me and Cooper never had a great relationship, but I mean he had a personality that just didn't fit with a lot of guys on the team. Ryan Perlew would have loved to have him, but in 2008 when Perlew was going to be the starter, we gave up 40-something points a game. That was a dual coordinator year. I mean, Jarrett Lee, we scored a lot of points that game. He threw a lot of interceptions, and he threw a lot of pick sixes, broke the record, whatever it was. But defense was also an issue in that year. The third one, that's up to you.
What was the third one?
I forgot. That's why I threw it up to you.
Oh wait, he just. How attractive is a defensive coordinator's job at LSU? The answer to that is it's very attractive.
Very attractive.
It's very attractive. You've seen multiple guys take this and springboard it into a head coaching job. First of all, if nothing else, it pays very well. Okay, you're at the top of the college football food chain. You're a coordinator at a top 20 school, top 10 school maybe, and maybe not this year in the top 10, but this is a top 10 job. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe even a top 5 job as a head coaching job. So Bo Pelini got the head coaching job at Nebraska off of this. Jimbo Fisher got the head coaching job at Florida State as the offensive coordinator here. Dave Aranda got the head coaching job at Baylor. Now, Bo Pelini the second time around, that
wasn't the real Bo Pelini.
No, and I don't think that there was a tremendous amount of cohesion between he and the staff.
We were told he got hired without an interview.
Yeah, well, Ed Orgeron said that he got hired without an interview. I think that there was probably a little bit of outside influence that forced that. But even if it would have been something that Orgeron was all in on, which he obviously didn't seem that way. That was going to be tough on anybody because Pelini got the job, I want to say 2 days before COVID hit. 2 days, or he was supposed to report to Baton Rouge 2 days before COVID hit. So he's got to come in and put in his whole system, and 2 days before he gets here, the world stops. So he's not here until, what, they let him report August, whatever it was, and you didn't have everybody in the building all the time. Yeah, my point is that would have been hard for anybody. And then they lost multiple guys in the secondary, including Derek Stingley, who decided he just didn't feel like playing. Yeah. So that was going to be hard on anybody. I know Pelini's a better coach than what he showed that year. That was going to be hard. Those circumstances were going to be tough. Durante Jones never had a chance. Yeah. That was going to be a sacrificial lamb. Durante Jones could have come in here and had the best year of any defensive coordinator in the history of football, and Orgeron was getting fired anyway. Yeah. That die was cast. So I don't know if we ever got a real accurate read of what kind of defensive coordinator Jones could be. So those are special circumstances. If House doesn't succeed here, it's on House. It ain't on anybody. It's not on Kelly. It's not, well, it's a little bit on Kelly, but it's mostly on him. There's no COVID. There's no recruiting restrictions. There's nothing holding you back. There's no budget restrictions on who you can hire on the staff. You have been given everything you could ever ask for from a resources standpoint. If you don't get it done, it's on you.
The best defensive players in the world come from the Southeast. So you're going to get players. I mean, every coach wants to come here knowing that they can recruit Louisiana, Mississippi, the Panhandle of Florida, South Texas. You can get the best defensive players in the country. Everybody wants to come here to coach a defense.
I'm not going to pretend like this defense has personnel comparable to some of LSU's best defenses in the last 15 years. They don't in any way resemble a 2011 unit or anything like that. I know that they have better talent than what they're playing, though.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. They're in the same breath as I'm reading you the stats. They're in the same breath as Vanderbilt. You're not in the same talent bracket as Vanderbilt. You're in the same statistical boat as Vanderbilt. You play in the same damn league. So if you are given resources comparable to Alabama and you are producing results comparable to Vanderbilt, it's on you.
100%.
There's no other way to put that. We are brought to you by AJ Sports Cards, located off Drusilla, open Monday through Friday, 9:30 till 6 p.m., Saturdays 9:30 until 2. Football, baseball, basketball cards, and a good variety of Pokemon cards with new products coming in every single week, some high-end stuff that's in stock. And if you're a collector, all the supplies that you need, like cases and sleeves, you can check them out on Facebook. Also, coming in this month, they are partnering with Topps on a buyback program, a program where you can get store credit for trading in specific Topps products. So if you're in the card market, it is AJ's Cards, located off Drusilla. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
98.1.
Eagle 98.1 game day continues. Alabama wins it 42-28. 499-9890 is the number on the LaBerge hotline. Toby is in Walker. Toby, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, gentlemen.
Hello. This doesn't sound like Toby.
Not Toby.
Go ahead.
No, y'all do a great job. Y'all really do.
Thank you.
Both of you. I have a question, Mr. Hannegriff.
Sure.
Who has hiring and firing ability? Is it Coach Kelly or Scott Woodward?
Brian Kelly's in charge of the entire football staff. Scott Woodward is in charge of Brian Kelly. Now, can an athletic director supersede a head coach as far as staff decisions? Yeah, and generally your program is in pretty deep you-know-what if that happens, but that's not happening here. No, Brian Kelly's in charge of everybody on his staff, and Scott Woodward's in charge of Brian Kelly. And President Tate's in charge of Scott Woodward. And the governor's in charge of President Tate. And
I'm making that call,
and the knee bone's connected to the shin bone, that kind of thing. That it? Okay. Jonathan's in Toby or Jonathan? Jonathan. Okay, Jonathan, welcome into the show.
Yeah, I'm here. I got a few things I want to say, and I won't be long. First of all, somebody said that officiating does not lose a ball game. But I tell you what, tonight it damn sure helped. And another thing I want to say, too, is that the coaching on the defense side of the ball. Now, we've been talking about this all year, how bad it's been.
Almost 2.
All right, almost 2 years. Now, I don't know what that caller before me wanted to say, but I'm going to say it. The defensive coordinator needs to be released. Because, the job is not being done. And, you can't blame it on the players because that's the players you got. If you look at everybody that LSU played against that had a good coach on that side of the ball, they ran the score up on them, just gutted them. So that tells me something that, hey, the coaching is bad. And another thing, I thought Kelly should have been very ferocious when that boy got taken out like that. He should have been out on the sideline raising all kind of sand with those people that boy took a cheap shot at the quarterback like that. If that would have been Saban, he'd have still been out there fighting.
I understand what you're saying, and I reacted watching the game on TV. I think you, Rich, you said you did too. Turner should have been thrown out of the game, and they didn't show Kelly right when it happened.
No.
So I don't know exactly what his reaction was. I know he's got to walk a line there where he's got to get his point across to the officials, and I'm sure he was animated. But if he gets thrown out of the game, he can't help them. If they get another penalty on top of, to negate that one, he can't help them. He still thinks they've got a shot to win the game at that point. So what is a race in the 15 yards going to do? They're not going to change the call.
They're not going to change the call.
They're not going to change the call. I understand. Look, I wanted to lash out too. I scared my dog, okay? The dog ran under the bed. I screamed so loud. But, ultimately, what good did it do? I am all for sending this to the league office and say, like I said at the top of the show, okay, that call didn't cost LSU the game. No call tonight cost LSU the game. No. LSU lost the game because it couldn't stop the run. But this is the kind of stuff that drives you crazy about Alabama, okay? And I realize I'm the ringleader of this particular program at some points, because my biggest problem with Alabama is that they don't oftentimes play by the same set of rules as everybody else, okay? People that followed me back in the 90s when I first started in this market remember that I used to hate Notre Dame. I don't hate Notre Dame anymore. I hated Notre Dame then. Why? Because they played by a different set of rules. The rules were different for Notre Dame to get to certain bowl games. It was different for them for television. It was different for them for revenue. It was different for them for everybody. And I thought everybody should play by the same set of rules. I was young and naive then. I didn't know any better. Okay. And so when I watch a play like what happened with Devin White, and he gets thrown out of that game and has to miss the first half of the Alabama game, and I don't want to necessarily go all, conspiracy theory on the deal, I got to really rein myself in, because you're going, wait a minute. You never these calls never seem to happen when you're playing Kentucky, okay? No. They always happen when you're playing Alabama. And you watch this guy do 3 or 4 things that will get you fined, run out of in NFL, suspended, and in college, certainly thrown out of the game. You see him lower his head. You see him make contact with the quarterback's chin.
Barry.
You see him leave his feet, and you see him land on the kid. And you see the officials are in position to throw a flag, but don't even take 1 second. I mean, they hold these games up. Now, you're going to get me going. They hold these games up for the most minute of spotting of the ball. It's like, come on, man, he caught the ball. He's on the 35-yard line. Do we really have to see if he's on the 35.5? It's second down. It's the first quarter. Stop for video review. They stop the game anytime somebody wants an extra box of popcorn to go to the concession stand, don't want to miss a play. We're going to stop play. But for this, you're not. You saw this happen in front. This is LSU's best football player. They can't win the game without him on the field. Now, they were probably going to lose anyway. But you watch this happen. You watch this kid stagger off the field.
After laying there for 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you're not even going to go look at this, and you wonder why we think Alabama gets preferential treatment. Dallas Turner should not have played the rest of this game, and he should not play in the first half of next week's game against Kentucky. Why do I sit here and scream every time something scheduling comes up? Because the SEC was on their way to 9 games and 3 permanent opponents until Alabama found out who they had to play. They're like, hold up, well, we can't have this.
Yeah.
And what happened? The whole league, all 16 teams, got to kick the can down the road because Alabama didn't like who they had to play. I understand the league office has got to be somewhere, okay? The fact that it's in Birmingham, I don't think this is any coincidence, okay? LSU lost the game. LSU was going to lose the game anyway. They should have thrown Dallas Turner out of the game.
The reviews go back to Birmingham, right?
Yeah.
They didn't even review today.
Right. That's the thing. They didn't even look at it.
And I will say that was kind of a constant theme in the game. Malik's incredible catch on the sideline 98% of the time that play gets reviewed.
Yeah.
That didn't get reviewed.
No.
There was a time where Harold Perkins, we had 12 men on the field. He was running off. They got the first down. Okay, it's a new point. That didn't get reviewed. There's just a lot of things in this game that I thought regardless of who you cheer for, who you were going for, that was just pathetically called.
We're stopping the games against Grambling and Army, and we're not stopping the game against Alabama. Where are we? Sean is in Houston. Sean, welcome into the show.
Yeah, I know both of you guys know Jimbo Fisher pretty well when he was at LSU.
Yeah.
Why do y'all think he's struggling so bad, and do y'all think Texas A&M is going to fire him?
It's a 2020 version of Les Miles. I mean, I love Jimbo. Jimbo coached me, recruited my brother. I dealt with him a long time, but he is running the same offense he ran when I was in college.
Yeah, that.
That's all I got to say about that.
I can't add very much to that. I think that Jimbo and where Les was is a pretty good comparison, because Bobby Petrino is about as creative a play caller as there is. Now, he's not quite as cutting edge as he was in 2011 when he was at Arkansas in his heyday, but he's still way better. And I just think that Jimbo's put him in a box and said, okay, you can call whatever you want as long as it's off this pre-approved sheet. You even pointed out, and I missed this today, that Max Johnson, who's got a pretty docile personality, he and Jimbo got into it on the sideline today. The frustration finally bubbled over. You want to speculate for a minute about what that might have been?
It had a lot to do with Max Johnson finally saying, this is BS. What are we doing? This is like, for Max Johnson, the most calm, collected, comes from an NFL quarterback. He knows how you're supposed to talk to coaches, how you're supposed to handle coaches, how you're supposed to handle situation. I was shocked to see them going at it on the sideline. I mean, that's just telling me that when your quarterback and the coach aren't seeing eye to eye, I mean, that's very telling.
Yeah, the frustration has bubbled over there. And do I think he's going to be fired? Yeah. The only thing saving him at this point is that contract. And I just think that I've been told enough times in the last week or so that he loses this game. This is the game for him. It's not really the LSU game. It's this game. Because if you lose to LSU, you lose to a program with comparable resources, and, that happens. You lost a one-score game to Alabama, who has comparable resources. You got resources triple what Ole Miss has got, and that's being conserved. Just ask Lane Kiffin.
Probably double what LSU's got. I mean,
in some areas, yes.
I mean, from what I've been told, I got a lot of friends that have coached on that staff with Jimbo. I got a lot of business partners I deal with that are A&M boosters. They don't care about the money at this point. They all want him gone. Yeah. I mean, and they got more resources. Look, one of my best friends was a coach on that team. When Jimbo wanted a new indoor facility, they said he drank 2 beers and got $50 million. I mean, talk about the resources they have there.
I've drank 2 beers for considerably less than that, by the way.
And so knowing what they can do there and what they hired Jimbo to do, at the time, it was one of the biggest. It was the first guaranteed contract.
It wasn't the first guaranteed contract, but it was the first guaranteed contract for that much.
And he's turned out to have the same average wins as Kevin Sumlin.
Yeah.
They'll pay to move on.
And once they do, I'm fascinated to see where they go with this, because I don't know that there is this one candidate that's out there that you definitely
want.
This year. That would be the guy that everybody wanted. You might have said Mike Elko a few weeks back. I think Elko's a really good coach. I think he'd do a good job there. But would you go take Lane Kiffin? Would you go?
I'll tell you what my A&M buddy told me this morning, and he's played ball at A&M, big booster. He said, at some point we got to realize who we are. We have never won the big game, and now that. He said, our big brother, the guy that we're scared of the most, is joining the SEC. Where do you think it's going from here?
Who had the gun to his head? I mean, A&M people don't talk like that.
I got a buddy that's very realistic.
Okay. Well, he's the one.
He's the one. And he told me he goes to the booster meetings. He's a donor. He goes there, and he goes, at this point, who do we think we are? Mm-hmm. This is who we've been. We've been worried about Texas for a long time. Texas is a guy that can kind of bury us. And now they're joining the same conference.
When you put up that much money, when you make that kind of investment, you expect a return on it. They're not getting it.
Yeah.
That's why the expectations are what they are. You asked us to build this, we built this. You asked us to put this money in this collective to go get these players.
You want
we
$50
did that.
million? We give you $50 million.
You wanted to go hire whoever. We did it, and you're still not winning. And the Ole Miss thing to me is that's the one team you can't lose to. All right. I mean, outside of a rogue loss to Vanderbilt or something like that. I think that if they lose to Alabama, they kind of understand, okay?
They lose to LSU.
I'm aggravated LSU lost to Alabama, but I recognize that they're Alabama. When LSU loses to Arkansas or Mississippi State, I get a little bit frustrated. Okay, you have more resources. You should win those games. Lane Kiffin has gone out of his way to not so subtly suggest that A&M has bought everything that they've come across here, and he doesn't have it. Like to have it, doesn't have it. Beating them anyway. You can't lose 3 straight to Ole Miss.
No.
You can't lose 3 straight to Ole Miss. Now, I'm fascinated to see who they hire, though, if they move Jimbo, and I think they're going to. I think they're going to find $77 million.
I think they have to.
$77 million to go away.
They gave him $50 million over 2 beers.
I'm in the wrong business, man. We'll take a break. We'll come back here. This is Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor, so you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast? All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Stat Check. Presented by Luba. Luba, genuine dependability.
You know, Rich, we were talking at halftime about how that yardstick was about the most even yardstick at halftime as you could get, and it was 21-21. So keep that in mind when I'm going through these numbers, that everything here was dead even at the half. First downs, Alabama 28-21 over LSU. Total yards 507 to 478. So about 30-yard difference. Wasn't a ton of total yards, but the third, I'll get to the third downs in a second. Rushing yards 288 for Alabama, 206 for LSU. That's kind of where this game was won. But 46 attempts for Alabama, so 6.3 yards per carry. 24 for LSU, 8.6. They ran the ball well. Yeah. I mean, Daniels was the big part of that, but hey, the counts are all the same. Passing, LSU 20 of 34, Alabama 15 of 23, 9.5 yards per attempt for Alabama, 8 for LSU. Tigers had one turnover, the interception, no turnovers for Alabama, 8 penalties for 60 yards on LSU, 6 for 50 on Alabama. Time of possession, 33-33 for Alabama, 26-27 for LSU, which means they had about a 7-minute time of possession edge in the second half, because it was seconds apart.
It was dead even
at the half. Individually, Jayden Daniels 15-24, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Jalen Milroe 15-23, 219 yards, no touchdowns or interceptions. Rushing, Daniels with 11 carries for 163 yards, a 15-yard average, just under 15 yards, and a touchdown. Logan Diggs 8 carries for 24 yards. Josh Williams 4 for 19 and a score. Jalen Milroe 20 carries, 155 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jace McClellan, 14 carries for 63 yards and a score. Roydell Williams, 6 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. Receiving, Malik Neighbors, 10 catches for 171 yards and a touchdown. Kyron Lacey, 2 for 39 and a score, including one hell of a play at the end of the first half. They didn't exactly clock management that perfectly, but
when you
they
give
got
a
in.
team with a minute left, I think it was a minute of 6, whatever it was. It was somewhere right 101.
101,
okay.
yeah.
I'm thinking at that point, I'm ready to go turn the TV off, take a break, calm down, because that was shocking to get that.
I thought they could get down in field goal range.
Well, what happened was they went to play prevent, and then Jayden Daniels killed them with their legs.
Yeah, he really did. That was a great individual effort by Lacey to get in the end zone. Brian Thomas, 3 catches for 36 yards. Isaiah Bond, 5 catches for 60 yards for Alabama. McClellan, 1 catch for 42 yards. That was the shot put. Yeah. Jam Miller, 1 catch for 35 yards. That was the other
third down.
That was the one that was right over Perkins's fingertips by
both on third downs.
Inches. Yeah. Jermaine Burton, 3 catches for 29 yards.
You told me that, I thought we won.
Yeah, that would have been. The stat I wanted in pregame was explosive plays. Who have more?
I
saw
a stat, and I can't remember if it was early in the third quarter. I'm pretty sure it was early in the third quarter. LSU had 14, they had 12. And then it kind of went away from there.
Yeah, they got a few more in the fourth quarter. Defensively, Greg Penn led LSU with 10 total tackles tonight, 1 for loss. Harold Perkins, Major Burns, and Andre Sam all had 8 tackles apiece. Caleb Downs, 13 tackles for Alabama, including 9 solos, led the way for the Tide. Punting.
Each had 1?
Bramlett punted twice for a 36.5-yard average. Burnip had 1 punt for 50 yards, and that is it.
They won the special teams.
Well, I don't know. Reichert missed both of his kicks,
yeah,
both of his
our one.
field goals. Yeah, 0 for 3, the 2 teams with field goals. I'll tell you one thing LSU has over Alabama. For some reason, Alabama kickers go to jello when they kick against LSU. They have missed a lot of field goals over the years.
And I wish it made a difference tonight.
Yeah, that would have been nice. That is your stat check. We're back with our final scoreboard, Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward. always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Eagle 98.1. The Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln College Football Scoreboard. Robinson Brothers Ford Lincoln, on airline into the giant American flag.
Everything has gone final, so let's start at the top. Number 1, Ohio State beat Rutgers 35-16, trailed 9-7 at the half, but came on strong in the second half. Kyle McCord threw 3 touchdown passes for the Buckeyes. Number 2, Georgia had their problems with Missouri. It was a 10-10 game at the half, but they win it 30-21. Carson Beck threw a couple of touchdown passes for UGA. Missouri always seems to give them problems, and that's
Always
a good
close.
Missouri team.
No doubt. I mean, that's the game I watched. My middle day slate, I was watching that game. It was very interesting, but Georgia always pulls it out.
They didn't have quite enough to get over the top there, but they gave Georgia quite a spoonful today. Number 3, Michigan beat Purdue 41-13. J.J. McCarthy threw for 335. I'm assuming Purdue sent the plays. I'm assuming Purdue sent the plays in with personnel. Number 4, Florida State kind of sleptwalked through the first half at Pitt, but came on for a 24-7 victory over the Panthers. Jordan Travis threw for 360 yards and a touchdown. Florida State looking ahead to Miami next week, possibly. I think Miami was probably looking ahead to Florida State. Get to that in a second. Number 5, Washington beat number 20 USC 52-42. It was supposed to be a shootout, and it definitely was. It was 35-28 at the half. Rich, USC 7-3. They're 5-2 in the Pac-12. They're not going to the Pac-12 championship game. They're not going to the playoff. Whatever bowl game they go to, they go to. You think Caleb Williams plays in the last 2 games?
After the shaking hands and celebrating whatever, but no.
I'm going to say no. Number 6, Oregon beat Cal 63-19. 4 more touchdown passes for Bo Nix. Going to be a heck of a Heisman battle right now. Penix had I should have gave you Penix's numbers tonight. He threw for 256 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, gosh, I was expecting more than that.
But it seemed like the plays he made tonight were big.
He makes a ton of big plays. The touchdown at the end of the first half was on 3rd and 18.
Yeah.
It was about a 30-yard pass or so. I'm looking at this box score for the first time. I was expecting more than that. Penix and Bo Nix right there at the top of the Heisman race. Now, number 7, Texas beat number 23, Kansas State 33-30 in overtime, despite 4 touchdown passes from Will Howard for K-State. K-State went second in the overtime. Texas went first, kicked the field goal. K-State gets down to the 4-yard line, 4th and goal. They go for it. Chip shot field goal to send you to double overtime. They said, we're going to play for the win right here. Pass was incomplete.
In that situation, it's kind of like LSU, Alabama last year. You've got an opportunity, one play to win the game.
From the 4-yard line.
You take it.
Yeah, they did, and they came up a little bit short. Last edition of Bedlam for the foreseeable future. Number 22, Oklahoma State beats number 9, Oklahoma, 27-24. Ollie Gordon with 137 yards and 2 touchdowns for Oklahoma State. Number 10, Ole Miss beat Texas A&M 38-35. Quinshon Judkins ran for 3 touchdowns today, and Jackson Dart 387 yards.
Missed
and
field
2
goal at
scores.
the end to tie it up.
47-yarder, I think it was.
A lot of 47-yard missed field goals
That's
tonight.
just how it was online. It was just short.
Yeah.
It just came up a little bit short. Number 11, Penn State, no problem with Maryland, 51-15. Number 13, Louisville moves to 8-1 on the season. They beat Virginia Tech 34-3. Clemson knocked off number 15, Notre Dame, 31-23. Tigers picked Sam Hartman twice and ran one back for a touchdown. Number 16, Oregon State beats Colorado 26-19. Colorado now 4-5 on the season, so they got to hustle to get in a bowl game. Number 17, Tennessee beat UConn 59-3. Number 18, Utah beat Arizona State 55-3. Number 21, Kansas. Impressed with this victory. They beat Iowa State in Ames 28-21. They're 7-2 now. I'm impressed because most of the teams, after they get that big emotional win, the field rush and everything, the next week they're down. We call it the field rush fade. They did not fall prey to that tonight. They won that game in convincing fashion. Iowa State came back on them a couple of times in the second half.
Les Miles turned Kansas around.
He did not. Number 24, Tulane had to hang on against 1-8 East Carolina, 13-10, but the Wave moves to 5-0 in the American and 8-1 overall. This game was one of the biggest shockers of the day. I know it wasn't a headliner game or anything. Army beat number 25 Air Force 23-3.
That was the shocking one I saw today.
Absolutely blew me away because this is one of Army's worst teams recently. They just struggling. And Air Force is one of their best teams. They were 8-0. And Army they took them by the throat. 17-0 after the first quarter.
But, it's the way they won. Air Force outgained them in the first downs, 19-11. Yardstick, 259, 253.
Turnovers? I didn't see the game.
Turnovers, Air Force had 6.
There you have it. Arkansas gets their first SEC win, 39-36 over Florida. That was in overtime. Rocket Sanders back for the first time in a month. He had 103 yards for the Hogs. Indiana beat Wisconsin 20-14, and Michigan State beat Nebraska 20-17. You know who's in first place in the Big Ten West?
Who's that?
Everybody. South Carolina beat Jacksonville State 38-28. North Carolina beat Campbell 59-7. Wait, I got to go back up. South Carolina beat Jacksonville State. You know what the significance of that game is?
Huh.
First time ever, Gamecocks against Gamecocks.
Gamecocks first.
The only two Gamecocks mascots in D1, and they played each other for the first time today. Sam, I know you were dying to know that, right? It's only 12:15, right?
I would have never asked that question in my life.
Set the clock back. Sam Houston beat Kennesaw State 24-21. Georgia Tech over Virginia 45-17. Temple beat Navy 32-18. UAB beat Florida Atlantic 45-42. UTSA over North Texas 37-29. Memphis beat South Florida 59-50. Hey, basketball season starts on Monday. It looks like a basketball score with about 8 minutes to go in the game. Arkansas State beat UL Lafayette 37-17. Illinois edged Minnesota 27-26. Iowa over Northwestern 10-7. It was a barn burner at Wrigley Field. The game day guys had a great stat. They said, the Cubs played the Reds this year, and there were 29 runs scored in the game. Well, Iowa and Northwestern scored more than 29 points. They did not. Houston beat Baylor 25-24. That was in overtime. UCF beat Cincinnati 28-26. James Madison goes to 9-0 on the season. They beat Georgia State 42-14, but for the moment, they are still ineligible for the postseason. Coastal Carolina beat Old Dominion 28-24. It was Auburn over Vandy 31-15. Auburn's got a winning record, by the way, just in case you were wondering.
Hugh Freeze made the difference.
Hey, first year under Freeze, every one of his teams get better. Charlotte beat Tulsa 33-26. That was in overtime. Southern Miss beat UL Monroe 24-7. It was Hawaii over Nevada 27-14. Texas State over Georgia Southern 45-24. Liberty goes to 9-0. They beat Louisiana Tech 56-30. New Mexico State over Middle Tennessee 13-7. App State beat Marshall 31-9. UNLV moves to 7-2 on the season. They beat New Mexico 56-14. West Virginia big over BYU 37-7. Utah State beat San Diego State 32-24 in double overtime. Kentucky moves to 6-3 on the season. They beat Mississippi State 24-3. A couple of touchdown passes for Devin Leary. It was SMU over Rice 36-31. NC State beat Miami 20-6. You wonder if Miami was looking ahead a little bit. Only 2 field goals in the game for the Canes. They did not score in the second half.
I feel like we've said that a few times this year, that Miami was looking ahead.
Yeah, they just may not be that good.
No.
Western Kentucky beat UTEP 21-13. It was Stanford over Washington State 10-7, and Fresno State beat Boise State 37-30. Bulldogs are now 8-1 on the season, and Boise State falls to 4-5. And one more for you. Where's my 1AA scores? Here we go. Alcorn State beat Southern 44-21, and Alabama State beat Grambling 17-6. And that is your college football scoreboard. Game balls are next. Eagle 98.1 Game Day.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even
98.1. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. Game balls. Presented by WCK Foundation Repair. Support your home team. WCK Foundation Repair.
All right, I know who I'm voting for. It doesn't matter who you vote for.
You want Jayden or Malik?
I'm taking Daniels, even if you take Daniels.
I took Daniels too.
That kid did everything you could ask tonight. The numbers again: 14 to 24, 219, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 11 carries for 163 yards and a touchdown.
And the pick's not on him. The guy made a great play.
Yeah, the guy got hit. The guy got, he had to slide. He had to step up. There were times tonight where he just took LSU on his back. I would love
the whole
to,
game he took him on his back.
I would love to.
Opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I would love to be able to tell you that, LSU was running the football really well, but outside of Daniels' athleticism, they really weren't. I mean, Diggs didn't have a lot of room to run. He had 8 carries for 24 yards. Williams bounced a touchdown outside, but
there was blown up at the front, and he bounced it and got kind of lucky.
So Daniels runs for $163. This looks great, 8 yards a carry, 8.5 yards a carry, but Daniels did a lot of that stuff on his own. Man.
This game was 100% Daniels. The only reason we were close into this game was Daniels.
I mean, he's delivering strikes.
Had a couple drops tonight, too. I mean, you want to talk about...
He did. Look, I want to give Lacey credit for that play at the end of the first half because he kind of willed himself in it. It was going to be... I think they would have gotten up and gotten the ball spiked, but it would have been close. 5 seconds.
When they threw that, I was looking, I was like, did his hip touch? Because if his hip touch, it's going into the half.
They would have...
No timeouts.
Well, okay, but the clock stopped because it was first down. Okay, so let's say he would have gone down at the 1 yard line. The clock stopped with I think he scored with 5 seconds to go or 4 seconds to go. So
Close.
the clock would have been, let's say the clock, back it up 1 second. They would have had
I think he threw the ball
5 seconds.
The ball was snapped with, I think, 13 seconds on the clock.
Yeah. It would have been close.
Yeah.
I think they would have gotten it spiked because the clock stopped with the first down. But
I'm not sure.
I don't know that for sure. No,
I've seen other time management issues go wrong.
Right. You know what I'm saying? That was a first down. Was that a first down? It must have been, right?
To snap the ball, I think would they get a penalty on that play?
Yeah, because it was it was a goofy first and one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was a first down. I think they would have gotten up and gotten it spiked, but it would
have been very close.
Yeah, 1 or 2 seconds at the most. So we're in agreement on that. Daniels had a great game, and got pasted by Turner in a play that we've talked about plenty tonight. And we'll see.
The one thing that we can live with is, the play that he got pasted on didn't determine the outcome of the game.
No, it didn't. It aggravated the hell out
It
of me,
aggravated the hell out of everybody,
it did not. It did not cost him the game. All right, we'll be back to wrap things up. Alabama wins at 42-28. Eagle 98.1 game day.
Life in Louisiana is a song. A symphony of sound, colors, and movement. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
We're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
98.1.
All right, disappointing outcome tonight for LSU as they fall 42-28 in Tuscaloosa. We will find out shortly where LSU's game against Florida will be put. What we had been led to believe was that if they won the game, they'd be a much better shot at playing a game at 2:30. Now that they've lost, it's more likely to be a night game, 6 or 6:30. But we'll find all that out tomorrow. Brian Kelly press conference on Monday. That'll be a part of Live at Lunch on ESPN Radio. You can get that at about 11:40. And, of course, the Brian Kelly Show next Thursday night. They got to get back and, kind of regroup. This is the mental part of this, Rich, I think is going to be a lot harder than the physical part.
There's no doubt, but I think, as bad as it sounds, those young DBs played decent tonight. I mean, that was what everybody was worried about. They kind of held their own. Toviano had a pretty decent game. Nobody wants to hear, but there's positive things to look at in that secondary, and they try to move forward from there.
This is the challenging part of modern college football. When you have a team with championship aspirations that is no longer playing for a championship, how are they playing?
And this is what I hate about where it's come to. I mean, as soon as it started with Leonard Fournette and Caleb or
Christian
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
They were the first two that just destroyed my college football hopes.
It was coming. They just happened to be.
I get why it happens.
First two
I get what it
guys.
does. I mean, but man, it hates when you get to this time of the year and there's no shot at a championship and you start seeing guys leave.
I don't think you're going to see. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know.
I don't feel like there's a guy on this team that's going to walk.
I don't think so either. But again, this is the challenging part: keeping your team engaged when you're playing for the difference between a bowl in Tampa and a bowl in wherever. It's
all pride at this point.
Yeah, so we'll see. Challenging for the coaching staff. Final score once again: Alabama 42 and LSU 28. From all of us here at the flagship, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good evening. This has been Eagle 98.1 Game Day.